What's up, everybody? I'm Stella Chung, and you're watching The Weekly Fix, our weekly roundup that gets you up to speed on all the biggest gaming and entertainment fix stories that you may have missed out on. In today's episode, we've got Splinter Cell rumors, both good and bad Elden Ring news, and our latest look at the Batman. Let's go.
For those excited for the long-awaited From Software Souls game Elden Ring, well, I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is Elden Ring has been delayed until February 25th, 2022, the same day the Saints Row reboot is set to release. According to a tweet, the Elden Ring team explained that the delay is because the depth and strategic freedom of the game exceeded initial expectations. The team went on to thank players for their patience and releasing some good news. The game will get a closed network test from November 12th till the 14th, with registration for the closed network test available now. Okay, so maybe it's not completely good news since the closed network test is only for console, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. There has been no mention of a PC test yet, so PC gamers just hang tight, I promise. We'll get good news. We matter too. The network test will be used to judge how well the game's online elements work when put under the stress of a full player base. Not sure how full that will be without the PC platform on the test, but I digress. The closed network test won't start till November 12th, but players who want to check out Elden Ring early can be chosen to take part by registering on the Elden Ring website before November 1st. According to the Elden Ring test registration website, joining the test is free, but there is little information on what the test entails. The test site simply states various technical verifications of online systems will be examined by conducting large-scale network load tests. Let's just hope it's not just testing the lobby, because that would kind of suck. So what do we know? Across the 3-day network test, players will get to play a portion of the game prior to the full launch, divided into 5 sessions. Now, just a heads up, you will need to create a Bandai Namco account to sign up for the Elden Ring network test. So if you already have one, you're one step ahead of everybody else, and probably also have several unsolicited emails from Bandai Namco. Sorry, not sorry. In other news, Final Fantasy XIV director and producer Naoki Yoshida says that discussions between Square Enix and Microsoft to bring the game to Xbox are positive, but still ongoing. In other words, we still don't have solid confirmation of an Xbox port. Just yet. In an interview with Easy Allies, Yoshida was hesitant to confirm any details surrounding the game's Xbox version, but did mention talks were going in the right direction. Even without an Xbox port, the game has performed exceedingly well across PC and PlayStation consoles. Following a soft reboot with Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and a number of subsequent expansions, Yoshida confirmed during a hands-on preview event for the Endwalker expansion that the MMORPG's growth and popularity over the past few years has made it the most profitable game in the Final Fantasy series to date, recently surpassing 24 million players worldwide. Final Fantasy XIV Endwalkers is set to launch November 23rd, 2021, featuring hours and hours of new content, new areas, new job classes, and so much more. If you want more Endwalker, be sure to check out IGN's article detailing everything we've learned from the new Final Fantasy XIV expansion. Tom Clancy fans may finally get a stealth series mainline Splinter Cell game after waiting 8 years since the previous core entry, Blacklist. A report from VGC claimed multiple development sources have revealed a new Splinter Cell in its early phase of production, with a small chance of the game's announcement coming in 2022. The project has apparently been greenlit as part of an effort to appease frustrated Tom Clancy and Splinter Cell fans who have been less than happy with Ubisoft's treatment of the brand over the last decade. This is interesting considering the only other detail provided was a report that the new Splinter Cell game would be developed outside of Ubisoft's flagship Montreal studio. The irony here is that Ubisoft Montreal developed key Splinter Cell games, including the original Chaos Theory and Conviction, with the most recent game Blacklist developed by Ubisoft Toronto. It's unclear why the reins of the next mainline Splinter Cell game would be put in the hands of a studio outside of Ubisoft's flagship store, but then again, it could be a case of Ubisoft Toronto taking the reins after the success of Blacklist. We can only hope that whichever studio is developing the new entry in the Stealth series is able to create a fitting successor to Splinter Cell's legacy. Otherwise, this whole tactic designed to appease fans would have done nothing more than pour gasoline on the fire. Now, we don't have any idea what the new game will look like, but one can hope that it takes some of the multiplayer versus co-op modes from Chaos Theory, maybe sprinkle a little bit of the cover system with the Panther-esque stealth style from Conviction, and a dash of the plethora of tools at your disposal in Blacklist. Oh, chef's kiss. Nonetheless, should the rumor prove to be true, fans will be cautiously waiting to see exactly what kind of game this new Splinter Cell will be. Personally, I just want more story development of Sam Fisher. I miss him so much. Moving on, Microsoft announced on the Xbox Wire blog the Xbox anniversary celebration to mark 20 years of Xbox. They have also made it very clear that no new games will be announced during the show. Bummer. But while there won't be any new announcements, Microsoft has a special anniversary broadcast prepared that will be taking a look back at 20 years of Xbox history. The announcement comes alongside a roadmap for the next 3 months of Xbox Game Pass, with Age of Empires 4 to be released on October 28th, followed by Minecraft on November 2nd, Forza Horizon 5 on November 9th, the Game of the Year edition of Flight Simulator on November 18th, and finally ending the year with Halo Infinite on December 8th. There are a ton more goodies included in Xbox Game Pass between now and December, so if there was ever a good time to get a 3-month subscription, it would be now. Like right now. And with the announcement that Microsoft is partnering with Adidas to bring a console-inspired sneaker to the celebration, it seems Xbox is going to have one heck of a birthday party. The anniversary celebration broadcast takes place on November 15th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Man, one more year and Xbox is able to drink.
If you're looking to grab a PS5 this holiday season, you might just be in luck. Like they've been doing sporadically throughout the year, Sony has opened up a direct registration system that'll give folks in the US the chance to buy one, but there's a bit of a catch. Not just anyone who's opened up a PSN account will be invited. According to Sony's FAQ page, these invitations are limited and based on a person's previous interests and PlayStation activities. So essentially, if you think you can just create a PSN account today and get invited into the Sony registration system to snag a PS5, probably not. Now, there will be a limited amount of consoles available, nothing new there, but if you want to have even the slightest chance of grabbing one, you'll need to register for an invitation using your email and PSN ID on PlayStation.com's website. Now, Sony plans on sending email notifications out to the lucky chosen ones in November, and if you are selected, you'll get the chance to buy a PS5 via PS Direct. Now, like in their previous PS Direct events, quantities will be limited, but if you get in, chances are a lot better here than going to like a retailer. So hopefully, if you don't already have one, this will be your chance to grab one. Sony has confirmed that supply shortages for the PS5 will continue well on into 2022, citing the global chip shortage as the main cause. Really hate to hear it, especially so close to the holiday season, but definitely throw your name into the hat with Sony's registration system and see if you can get one under that holiday tree. And in other news, FIFA's reportedly out here trying to get the bag from EA. The New York Times reported on a dispute between EA, the dev behind the FIFA games, and the football organization FIFA, wherein FIFA wants the gaming company to pay them $1 billion every 4 years for the license of using the name, as well as limiting EA's ability to monetize said name outside of the game itself. Now, as reported by the New York Times, with EA wanting to explore monetization options pertaining to highlights of actual games, arena video game tournaments, and NFTs, FIFA is out to try and limit EA's money-making opportunities to strictly what can be found in the game. Wasn't that EA's old catchphrase? EA Sports, it's in the game. So why are they trying to take things outside of the game and make more money? Well, you know what, anyways, with FIFA hot on their tail, it's no wonder EA announced last week that they're exploring the idea of renaming their football games franchise. Now, according to EA, losing their partnership with FIFA wouldn't mean the loss of official teams and player names, just the loss of the name, logo, and rights to use the World Cup within the games. Now, we likely won't know what's up till the end of the year, but EA recently trademarked the name EA Sports FC, so we'll have to wait and see what's up with that FC.
Nintendo invited us to check in on Animal Crossing today with an entire Nintendo Direct dedicated to upcoming improvements and upgrades to the beloved Switch game. I'll touch on those in a bit because unfortunately, all of that wholesomeness and charm is completely overshadowed by Nintendo revealing the pricing details of the upcoming Nintendo Online expansion. The service currently costs $19.99 a year, but if you're feeling spendy, you can upgrade to the new tier, which costs a combined $49.99 a year and includes access to N64 games, Sega Genesis games, and will also get you the new Animal Crossing paid DLC. Okay? People are not happy with this pricing arrangement, which was definitely more than any of us saw coming. The news and discourse about the price has drowned out most of the other news from the Direct, which went over the upcoming free update dropping November 5th. The 2.0 update brings Brewster's Roost, cooking, the return of the gyroids, Captain singing those lovely sea shanties. It's a whole lot of stuff. And that update is free. The Happy Home Paradise update drops the same day as Animal Crossing 2.0 and is not free. It'll set you back $25 if you want to buy it as a standalone DLC. But if you're one of the few people planning to get the new Nintendo Online tier, it's included in the cost of your subscription. Some people online are wondering, will the new online tier include future DLC as part of the service? And can you get a tier without the Animal Crossing DLC? And the answer to those questions is no one knows except Nintendo. But we're going to talk about it on Nintendo Voice Chat podcast, which you should listen to or watch on IGN Games on YouTube. From cooking food inside of a video game to storing cold beverages inside a replica gaming console, the official Xbox Series X mini fridge is a real thing now. The result of a promise by Xbox Games marketing head Aaron Greenberg. The Xbox eked out a Twitter poll victory over Skittles in a best of tweets head-to-head matchup. And the promise of a real mini fridge is now reality. The Xbox mini fridge has a USB port on the front, so while you're chilling beverages, you can also recharge your controller. It also includes a DC adapter for car charging. Finally, someone stepped up to put an end to the problem of not having 10 ice-cold drinks at an arm's length at all times. Too far away. The fridge will be available for pre-order beginning October 19th for $99.99 and will be available exclusively from Target stores in the US. Just like the real console, Microsoft is promising to do everything it can to keep producing these units for all who might want one.
CD Projekt Red has delayed the next-gen upgrades for Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Announced in an investor update, CD Projekt wrote, the management board of the company hereby announces that based on recommendations supplied by persons supervising development, it has decided to allocate additional time to both projects. Now I know what you're thinking. What was the reason? Why is this happening? Why NARS? Why? Well, calm down and I'll explain. From what I can tell, there is no specific reason other than CD Projekt Red really want to get it right. Considering everything the team at Cyberpunk 2077 experienced amidst crunch conditions, a pandemic, and Cyberpunk's initial rocky release, we can hopefully feel more confident that CD Projekt is doing everything to make good on their word. I say this is a good sign that CD Projekt Red is taking its time to ensure the game is done right moving forward, and that these re-releases will really wow us. Both upgrades for Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3 will be free to last-gen owners of the game and should improve graphical fidelity and performances. So when we revisit the streets of Night City and take Geralt out for another spin, the hope is they will run beautifully and sport meaningful upgrades. Now, if you are a true samurai, like I know you are, you will patiently wait, myself included, as the Cyberpunk 2077 upgrade is set to be released within January and March of 2022, with The Witcher 3 following suit sometime between April and June of 2022. Stay asleep just a little while longer, samurai. Hey, maybe this will give us samurai some time to check out Cyberpunk's TTRPG lore, because Johnny Silverhand was just one small piece of the bigger story. Just saying. Moving on, praise be to Zeus or whichever deity you honor, as 2018's God of War is on its way to PC, arriving on Steam and Epic Games Store on January 14th. The listing for the game appeared today, stating that it will feature enhanced visuals, unlocked frame rates and 4K resolution options, and NVIDIA DLSS and reflex support. Sony confirmed the release on the PS vlog, with Sony Santa Monica Grace or Lady saying, "Our primary goal when bringing God of War to PC was to highlight the exceptional content the team created and leverage the powerful hardware that the platform offers to create a uniquely breathtaking and high-performance version of the game." The game will support multiple controllers as well as mouse and keyboard, and will include 21:9 ultra-wide screen support. Exact PC specifications have not yet been announced.
It's time for a quick break, but when we come back, Akeem explains just why some of the acting may have felt off in Squid Game, and we get a major update on the future of Marvel Phase 4 that you don't want to miss out on. Stay tuned. And we're back. Robert Pattinson's version of the Caped Crusader has had Batman fans intrigued, but his latest trailer for the Batman sent them into overdrive over Pattinson's voice reveal. Check out his take on the iconic gravel that gets Gotham's goons shaking in their boots.
And with this year's DC fandom practically here, it's no boy wonder we're getting small teasers of the upcoming Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. Now, in a tweet sent out by the Batman Twitter handle, we got the reveal of when the movie trailer is set to drop and Pattinson's Batman voice. Take a listen.
It's not just a signal, it's a warning.
Now, what did y'all think of that? Is it menacing enough? How does it stack up against both Christian Bale and Ben Affleck's respective Dark Knight vocals? I'll let y'all battle it out in the comments, but that wasn't the only reveal we received. We also got 2 new posters showing us a silhouetted Batman and the Riddler holding a letter for the Bats. Now, the Batman in this poster is darkened out, but highlighted is the Bat insignia on the Dark Knight's chest. Now, while it's admittedly not much, this version of Batman does seem to have a leaner build than previous iterations. Now, taking a look at one of the villains in Batman's Rogues Gallery, we have a new glimpse at the Riddler. Now, this is probably the best look we've gotten so far of Paul Dano's Riddler in all his menacing glory. Director Matt Reeves' reimagining of the Batman will see Bruce in his second year as the Caped Crusader, and while he isn't the respected and seasoned vigilante we know him to be just yet, he's got the skills to bring Gotham's criminals to their knees. Now, with that in mind, don't expect to see an origin story. Now, in fact, in an interview with AV Club, Reeves spoke about how this will actually be an origin story of sorts for the villains. He said, quote, "I guess the one thing about the Rogues Gallery is that it actually, in a weird way, is the origins of a lot of our Rogues Gallery characters. So like, Selina isn't Catwoman yet, that's actually part of the journey. Oz is not yet the Kingpin that he's going to become. He is the Penguin. In fact, doesn't like being called the Penguin. And the Riddler is just emerging for the first time." Now, this particular take on the Batman will be unique given Reeves' noir-driven approach to the story that'll unfold on screen, and these small teasers just before some major reveals at DC Fandom should be enough to tide us over before then, as we all wait ever so patiently for the Batman's release next year, March 4th. And be sure to tune in to the DC Fandom tomorrow here on IGN, as I'll be hosting, joined by some of my super friends. Be sure to follow along with us. Now, in other news, Robert Pattinson isn't the only one with big superhero boots to fill. Oscar Isaac says his experience on Marvel's Moon Knight was one of the most challenging projects of his career. Now, speaking on an episode of Variety's Awards Circuit podcast, Isaac reflected on his past, recent, and upcoming projects, pointing out how challenging the overall production was for Moon Knight in particular. Take a listen.
What ended up happening was that every single morning when that alarm would go off, I could not wait to get to set. And it was the biggest workload I've ever had in my career, the biggest, the most challenging as far as just the sheer amount of stuff we had to do and try to get done in an 8-month period. And even with all that, the challenges of that, I just couldn't wait to get to set and to work with Ethan Hawke and May Calloway. We were just like this trifecta, this unit, and Mohammed and Benson and Moorhead. They were so fantastic too, and just like I couldn't believe my luck, and how collaborative the situation was.
Now, Isaac also mentioned on the podcast how he spoke with Kevin Feige going in with these big ideas for the project and how they all immediately saw the story coming together and unfolding. Now, you'll be able to catch Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight when it premieres on Disney Plus sometime next year. Just when we thought we had the dates locked in for the next batch of Marvel movies, Disney just hit us with some unfortunate news. Now, multiple delays for some of the most highly anticipated Marvel movies were announced today, including Black Panther 2 and Doctor Strange 2. Now, according to Disney, we have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness moving from March 25th, 2022 to May 6th, 2022, Thor Love and Thunder getting booted from May 6th, 2022 to July 8th, 2022, Black Panther Wakanda Forever leaping from July 8th, 2022 to November 11th, 2022, The Marvels flying from November 11th, 2022 to February 12th, 2023, and finally Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania jumping from February 17th, 2023 to July 28th, 2023. Now all this along with an untitled Marvel movie moving forward from November 10th, 2023 to November 3rd, 2023. Now still no word yet on what that title is. Now with this announcement, Disney also decided to remove 2 unannounced Marvel films from the release schedule entirely. Now the removal of these titles doesn't necessarily mean that they've been canceled, but more than likely that Disney hasn't settled on new release dates for those particular movies. And since the names haven't been revealed to the public just yet, there's currently no hype surrounding them, so Disney can presumably take their time trying to find a good place for these films in their overall rollout. Now this announcement didn't include Disney Plus streaming shows or the remaining MCU movies for this year. So fortunately, Eternals and Spider-Man No Way Home are still coming to theaters November 5th and December 17th, respectively. Now Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will also be sticking to its release date, May 5th, 2023. Now you're probably wondering why the shift in these dates, moving one Marvel movie's future release date to another. Well, as reported by Deadline, quote, it's all on account of a domino effect going on with production and filmmakers. Some titles are contending with finishing scenarios while others are in production. So it looks like Phase 4 of the MCU is still rolling out, but it'll just take a little bit longer than we anticipated for us to get some of these big Marvel titles. And what do you think about all of these delays? Now with these delays, when do you think we'll get into Phase 5 in the MCU? Comment down below and let's discuss. Now in other news, we got a synopsis for The Matrix Resurrections, which might just give us a bit more insight into the film's plot. Now shared by WB's awards page, the synopsis reads, quote, in a world of 2 realities, everyday life and what lies behind it, Thomas Anderson will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once more. Choice, while an illusion, is still the only way in or out of the Matrix, which is stronger, more secure, and more dangerous than ever before. Wow, so it's a harder, better, faster, stronger Matrix. Sounds like Daft Punk might be involved. Wouldn't be surprised by that discovery. Ha! Mr. Anderson has quite a choice to make when The Matrix Resurrections hits theaters and HBO Max on December 22nd. Squid Game might be a popular series on Netflix, but there is one aspect of the show that fans seemingly dislike. According to many viewers who have taken to the internet to express their feelings on the show, the looped audio coming out of the English-speaking actors has officially rubbed them the wrong way. But according to one of the actors, there's a good reason for the bad delivery. Now, in an interview with The Guardian, Squid Game's John D. Michael said, quote, it's different for every show, but non-Korean performers often act with dialogue that is translated by a non-native. Sometimes even by Google Translate, so it can sound unnatural. Now, what made things even worse is that the English-speaking voice actors were given no context for their roles, apparently just told that they were playing total idiots and dirtbag millionaires. Now, Michaels also noted that complications in the editing process led to bad line reads slipping through into the final product, as a Korean editor is working with an English scene and may not be keen to which take might be best or most natural. Now, in the same interview, Michaels also noted that the acting in Squid Game is heightened, which is typical for Korean dramas. As such, the English translation with their heightened delivery of certain lines comes off almost cartoony in a sense. Now, I personally don't mind the sometimes comedic English delivery from the VIPs. It's wacky, but it works. Now, what do you all think about all of this? Comment down below. In other news, director James Gunn explains why he felt the original ending for Suicide Squad was a bit dark, too dark even. Now, speaking Speaking with Cinema Blend, Gunn outlined the original ending saying, quote, Ratcatcher 2 had smuggled in and gotten away with all that information from Jotunheim, and the rest of the group didn't know about it. And Amanda Waller blew up her head after they went back to the prison. Now, he then goes into how Bloodsport begins freaking out because Ratcatcher 2 was someone he really cared about, viewing her as somewhat of a daughter. Bloodsport then shoots Waller in the heart with a combustible bullet, but actually just below her heart. As such, she has to do what Bloodsport says in a twisted reversal of power. The reason Gunn didn't run with this particular ending is because, well, he felt it was just too dark and he wanted to focus more on each character's emotional journey. Now, I think, I'd much rather prefer seeing Bloodsport petting a rat as a happy ending.
I'm Stella Chung, and that was your Weekly Fix. We'll be back here next Saturday with more of the biggest gaming and entertainment news of the week. See you then.